Welcome to Conversations with Healers, a podcast and video interview series that features intimate, soulful, and cozy conversations with self-healers and healers. Healer to healer, we dive into all aspects of self-healing and healing and being and becoming a healer. I am Damla Aktekin. I am a healer and the host of this podcast, and I can't wait for you to listen to this conversation. If you are new to this podcast, please take a moment to subscribe so that you can be aware of new episodes. I also invite you to visit adropofom.com, adropofom.com, where I share a lot of free resources for self-healing and healing, and you can take a free quiz to find out what your energetic wounds are and how they may show up in your life. Discovering what your wounds are is the first step in healing them. I hope you enjoy this episode. There is one more thing I would like to share with you before you listen to this episode. I created a wonderful container to help you heal your energetic wounds and activate the infinite light and potential of your inner children. It is a crystal energy healing membership called Chakra Bliss Vault. Every month you will receive 3 new crystal healing sessions. Plus, you'll immediately have access to my entire energy healing recording library when you sign up. The membership is really affordable and will continue to be so. You can find out more about it at adropofom.com, adropofom.com. I invite you to make healing your energetic wounds and connecting with your inner children a priority and invest in your well-being by becoming a Chakra Bliss Vault member. Hi everyone, this is Damla Aktekin with A Drop of Om. I am an inner child energetic wound healer, crystal healing teacher, writer, podcaster, astrologer, and an intuitive reader. And I'm so happy to be here with you today. And it's been a minute since I recorded a solo episode. And today's episode is going to be sort of like an update, and then I'll fill you in on a few aha moments, a few realizations, go over what happened in 2023 and what has been happening and what I am looking towards in 2024. Starting with my 2023 word was love. And it has been an interesting journey because it was absolutely difficult at times, physically, emotionally, and in a lot of different ways. I came face to face with some difficult patterns that I have in me and the people around me have. So all of that to say, for me, the love element came out to mean that, okay, how do I love myself? What does it mean to love myself? Because I came very directly face to face with certain patterns of overgiving, overdoing, overextending myself, and this went just beyond my personal relationships, into my business, into my friendships, and everywhere I was like, oh, like I've been reaching out and reaching out and reaching out to this person, and they're not reaching back to me. Like I keep overextending myself. So that was a huge aha moment, and one that I'm still living into and breathing into. And for me, love started to increasingly mean not overextending, not overgiving, and saying no a lot more than I had been saying no. So it's been an interesting journey because I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm seeing it in the emails I write, I start to type something to someone at my daughter's school, and I'm like, I start to apologize or something, and I'm like, yeah, no, just say what you need to say, keep it brief, and I pull myself back. And it's a journey. It's not like I realized it and then I'm healed. It's all good. It's a journey of becoming aware of it and then living aware of your tendencies. My 2024 word, just to jump to that right away, is arise. And that came through while I was working with a dear friend, a massage therapist, Wendy Durham, shout out to her. And it spoke to me. She kind of suggested it, and it spoke to me because arise meaning this sort of standing up, being ready for action, taking the time to emerge. It's like I've been planting these seeds, and then it's I can feel that it's almost time to emerge and come out into the sun. So that's what it's been like feeling, especially because I know I don't talk a lot about this, but behind the scenes, I'm super busy. Like I am revamping my membership. I'm actually today going to be adding new videos to clarify the message of the membership, which is a crystal healing, energy healing, inner child healing membership called Chakra Bliss Vault. But the clarification in the sense of why do I like, there are very intentional things that I do there. For instance, most of the healings are silent with just music playing, and the music is always the same. So those are very intentional choices on my part. There's nothing, almost nothing random in there. And I want to clarify those things. And along with that, I've been working on moving my website from WordPress to Kajabi, which has been an interesting journey. I am realizing now it's been 2 years that I am in this transition, and I'm still not completely there, but I know clearly what the next steps are. At the time, 2 years ago, I realized I've bitten more than I could chew. Because in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm just going to transition, it'll take 2 months. It's been 2 years. And now this year in 2024, my goal is to have, because Kajabi is an online course and a website platform. It has the energy that I'm looking for. It has the look and the feel and the comfort that I'm looking for. It has felt like home, even in the moment that I made the decision to switch. And now I'm in this process of looking over what I've created in my existing site for adropofom.com, and then saying, okay, this stays, this goes, this evolves, this transforms, that changes, which is the bit that's taking quite a bit of time. So arise to me is, again, related to all of these elements of, okay, I've been planting the seeds, like I've been, raking the ground and nourishing them and putting one page in and another page and another element. And now it's time for them to emerge. And interestingly, when I look back at 2023, one thing that comes up is not even in 2023, because we are in December, as I talked to you, we're in mid-December. Last year, in 2022, December, I was in Egypt, exactly at this time. And this was the day where we went into the Great Pyramid. So it's been very meaningful to me to look through that lens of, so from Egypt to 1 year later, come full circle where I am, who I am, and what I'm doing with my life. And it feels increasingly satisfying. I feel increasingly comfortable with who I am and what I do and why I'm here to do what I do. So, and the main thing that sort of represents what Egypt was for me is hidden in the Great Pyramid. We did a 2-hour-long ceremony in the King's Chamber, and I was guided through a Merkaba initiation. basically I saw a pyramid on me, around me, and then another inverted pyramid, and then at the center of it was my heart. And I had gone there asking, okay, what is it that you want me to do? What do I do? And then the guidance was like, everything is, all the seeds, everything is already in your heart. Everything is in your heart. And that was huge for me to realize that, to get that reaffirmation, confirmation, saying, and I think this applies to all of us, all that you need to bring out into the world, all that you need to live into and become is already in your heart. And that's what I'm feeling and living into every single day. And the thing that becomes clear when you start to look at life that way, okay, so everything I need is in here. Or the thing that evolves sort of from that place is that the second idea of I am the message. And that became very clear to me because one of the things that was iterated and reiterated to me by my guidance team was you'll be writing books, and you'll write your crystal healing book, and then you'll be writing more books. And as we speak now, since then, I've been writing this whole past year. That's another thing that's been growing under the earth, that I've been cultivating, that's ready to come out into the sky, is my book on crystal healing. And I'm happy to say I'm almost like, I'm 90% there. I have just a little bit more juice and love to pour into it. But the thing that has become very clear to me, again, coming back to that second piece of I am the message, as I went on to this writing journey, I going along hand in hand with the self-love meaning more no, self-love meaning more boundaries. I realized that like the book is in me, the book is in my body. So the more I take care of my body, my vessel, my antenna, the easier it can come out. And that has meant sometimes writing just one sentence, one word, and then other days writing 10 pages or more. And then in between, just saying, okay, what nourishes me? What helps me heal? What is really, really feeling good right now that I can come back to or make more space of. So that comes hand in hand with this parallel journey I've been going through, which is redefining what success means to me. So does success mean having this many followers? Does success mean when I announce something like, I don't know, 100 people sign up? And the thing that I come to is actually something I wrote out for my daughter and shared with her. And I think I shared it on Instagram too, which is knowing yourself so well to be able to say yes to who or what feels good and making space for more of those things and people, and saying no to who or what doesn't feel good and moving away from those people and places and things, and setting boundaries around yourself when it comes to those people and places and things. And while you're doing this, tending to your needs as best as you can, with or without help, and just being so very loving and gentle with yourself. And I think for me, this is the piece that I struggle with most because like my Aquarian mind, my sun is in Aquarius, just wants to go like 100 miles an hour. And then my body is like, no, 5 miles an hour is fine, which is why, again, the website is taking me this long. And then my writing takes as long as it takes and all of those things. So all of these things are interconnected, the love and the rising. So I need to love more nourish more, to be able to arise more. That seed needs the water, the sun, the nutrients, so that it can rise up and stand up. And that's where I find myself at this time. Which is interesting because I become aware of another set of patterns, because I thought in my mind, yeah, I know this. It doesn't, my definition of success and satisfaction doesn't matter when it comes to doing the healing work that I do in the world. Like I've known this. I can redefine things and look at things that way, and that feels good. That feels grounded. That feels aligned. But one day I was in my bathroom and I was looking at the shower, and I realized that, and it was quite icky, to be honest with you, not like super duper icky, but icky to my standards. And I realized that there was this part of me that felt almost like defeated, and almost like, not almost like a failure, because my bathroom is, to my standards, dirty. And I was like, oh, like that's another piece. That's another piece and layering of how I'm not so kind to myself, and how I sometimes put impossible standards around the way I live, the way I occupy my home and my space, and even my close relationships. It's all about these patterns in our heads that say, okay, like if you don't do this, you suck. If you don't do this, you're a failure. And it's really interesting to see how hidden those places can be. Um, and to come back to the idea that you are the message. Like no matter what you do or don't do, you're already enough, because you carry the love, the potential, the light of your inner children in you. And how amazing is that? And it doesn't matter if your bathroom's dirty or not, or how many people follow you, or this or that. It comes back to, how can I be with this process of planting and nourishing the seeds in my body as my body, and watch them grow, and not be impatient or unkind to myself in this growth and learning process. And while you do that, of course, uncovering patterns like these, like what makes you feel at the very basic level unsatisfied, on enough, not enough, and to see those, look at those, and to redefine those. And it's meant for me that actually, that home piece, I'm going to be honest, I'm still figuring out. I haven't quite gotten to the bottom of living with what I consider dirty shower. It still feels like not good enough. But I'm aware of it. I'm aware of it. I think I'll say that much. So I talked about my writing journey. I talked about my current definition of success, being the message. So the one interesting thing that came out recently is about astrology. So as some of you know, I've started offering astrology readings, and I've been with astrology for quite a while now, since the beginning of 2022. And before that, I would say I was indirectly in it through tarot, through some of the myths and symbols that I work with. But the astrology I'm studying now, I'm in my second year. It's a 3-year program. It's called Soul Level Astrology, taught by Mark Borax, who I had the pleasure of interviewing him. And he has this beautiful book all about the sun signs and the dragon nodes and in the chart. So let's just say that the astrology exploration has been for me, again, a discovery of what's hidden but in the from the lens of the birth chart. So the birth chart is a particular map of the skies at the time, at the day, at the exact time, the hour that you were born. Depending on the place that you were born, you have a birth chart. And a lot of people think or assume that that is a static thing. And in the astrology that I study, soul level astrology, it's absolutely not static. It's actually a quantum soul map. And every time I look at someone's chart or my own chart, something else comes up, something new comes up. What started to happen for me is, as I've been diving deeper and deeper and deeper into astrology, all the symbols, all the things, and the type of astrology that I study, again, soul level astrology, has this almost demand of you being seated so deep in your heart and in your soul that you can awaken the same in the other person. And what started to happen for me is I started to see symbols within the chart. I started to see symbols related to each of the planets, the sun, the moon, the north node. I started to see symbols about who that person is now and who they might be in the next 4 to 8 years. And by symbols, I mean, as I'm reading a birth chart, I go into my heart and I see an image that speaks to what they need to hear and know. And then my role becomes taking the person that I'm reading for through this journey of unraveling and connecting the dots, helping them understand what these symbols mean. The symbols are new to astrology. There are lots of symbols channeled for the 360 degrees of the zodiac, of the circle. There are some famous ones. There's the Chandra symbols, there's cherubel symbols, Sabian symbols. But what I'm experiencing is, again, like those symbols were channeled at a particular time by a particular person, and they can still be very useful and helpful in understanding. And you could go into them, which I have done. You could go into them explaining and connecting the dots for a person. But with these very personal, very unique, very in the moment symbols, I'm realizing they go deeper than that. Deeper than that, just some distant connection, because I'm connecting with my soul and your soul here in the moment, and our soul helpers. And the messages they give are very poignant and very known and very like deeply understood. Instead of me saying you do this, do that, when I give you a picture of what your soul journey is for the next, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years ahead, a lot of the time people go, oh, yes. Yeah, like that's something I can ease into. That's something I can be with. And as I did this, interestingly enough, again, with Wendy, when I met with Wendy, I was sharing with her this dream I had before going to Egypt, which was, it's nighttime. I'm by the Great Pyramid. And suddenly I look at the sky, and the sky is filled with a million stars. And I'm amazed. I'm looking at the stars and the planets and the comets and whatnot. I'm just looking at the lights. And there are people passing by me. And I say to them, look at these lights. Look at these beautiful lights. And some of them stop and listen. Some of them are in too much of a hurry. They pass me by. And I woke up with the knowledge that I was looking at our inner night sky. And regardless of what the weather is, what your trauma might have been, what clouding might have come around them, my understanding was these inner children lights, these quantum sparks of possibility and joy exist for you. And that's one of the greatest things that I hold as a healer, is that knowing that you have that potential to just bring those lights online and just see and become aware of those lights. And that's I know that's my mission in this life with everything that I do, to remind people of that inner night sky and that inner beauty. And anyways, I was telling my friend Wendy about this, and then she said, Damla, do you realize like that's astrology also? You're looking at the sky, you're looking at the stars, and you're basically bringing down the archetypes, the soul messages, what needs to be heard, seen, understood in that particular moment. And I said, oh, yes. And that's been a wonderful feeling, because yeah, I'd never thought of seeing it that way. So that was such a gift for me. Thank you, Wendy. And which brings me to, again, last year, this time, actually on this very day, December 14th, I was at the Great Pyramid at nighttime during new moon. And I stood by the Great Pyramid and I looked at those stars. So that was such a full circle moment for me that I just want to revisit and just reignite. Okay, so anyway, so one of the things that I am doing now is what I call the dharmic current readings. And the dharmic current reading is unique to the astrology I study. In the astrology I study, our souls go through every house. There are 12 houses in the circle in the birth chart, and it's not in order. There's a particular order, but our souls go through one house every 4 years. And that house brings with it particular lessons and challenges as well as gifts. And that's what the dharmic current is. Each house is a dharmic current. And what I've been doing is, with the people that I read astrology for, I can look at their past 1 or 2 dharmic currents, and that gives them the chance to, oh yeah, that was what I was working with, that was what was happening. And then we can go launch into the symbology and the soul message of the next 4 to 8 to 12 years. And I'm going to include information about that. I offer 30-minute readings as well as a much deeper, much more involved 90-minute reading, and you can see if that speaks to you. So next year, so one of the things I'm working on, my book, I'm sure I'll talk to you about it in the next months. It's in progress. It's almost done. So that's something that's going to be emerging, arising. I hope, I wish, I dream. And the second thing that I'm working on next year is with my membership, Chakra Bliss Vault, Crystal Healing membership, I'm introducing guest healers. So these are people that I've been so lucky to be in touch with. Some of them are really dear friends. Some of them are people I admire or love. And I'm hoping to bring in like another element of, I'm just always curious about what's out there in terms of healing. And some of the things, for instance, my dear friend Sue is going to come in and do a light language transmission. And I had the great privilege and the chance to experience it in person with her. And it's just extraordinary. Like, she has this gift. And as I am coming more and more in touch with my gifts, I am appreciating everybody else's gifts. And I don't have to do what Sue's gift is, which is light language. I mean, I'm open to whatever and however healing presents for me, but I'm just so in awe of it. And my thought process was like, why not give people in my membership a chance to experience it? So I invite you to take a look at my membership with that new lens and see if any of these guest healers speak to you. In addition to what's already there, there are over 100 crystal healing meditations, crystal healing recordings, and a lot of content in there, but not to overwhelm you, but to give you a variety of energetic wound healing experience that you can begin to do on your own. So the next season of this podcast, actually, that's another thing you don't see. That's behind the scenes, is actually already in production, meaning I've interviewed the majority of the people already. And I'm here to say that, I mean, 2023 has been amazing for me in this podcast. Like interviewing Mark Borex, Rachel Oz, Anne Neymark, all of those people, and all the names I don't remember in this moment. But each and every interview is very special to me because it's a soul to soul connection. And something happens when you're open to that kind of connection. And another thing you don't see is before I start any podcast recording, I do an intention setting with my guests and in my alone recordings as well. And I say, may this be received as it is given from the heart, and may it ignite the hearts of the listeners, because that's what we're doing here. We're creating this heart to heart, soul to soul connection and igniting your own healing gifts, your own healing viewpoint. And if you're interested in one of the guests and you want to try their healing gifts, beautiful. If you want to try my healing offerings, also beautiful. But this podcast is here for you as a resource. And not only that, like each healer, they're sharing their own healing stories. So that's you. If you're here listening, you are a healer as well, because I define the healer as someone who takes responsibility of their own healing and says, I'm going to shine in my own unique way. And I hope that, and I know that, not I hope, I know that that's you. So as you listen, my advice would be to see what each episode, each guest, each conversation awakens in you. What part of you is there to hear and become online, to arise and emerge. And 2024 is very similar. I have some amazing guests. Is all I'm gonna say. And the conversations are, each of them, uniquely beautiful and uniquely deep. And the one thing I'm realizing is I started this podcast at a time when I really felt isolated. It was like a little before the pandemic. And I was just feeling that there were, if the language is, I hope the language is okay for you, but I felt like surrounded by muggles. And I wanted to be surrounded by witches and wizards and astrologers and healers. And this was my way of reaching out to the world and saying, you know what, I just want to have a conversation who just feels the world, life as deeply as me, who's intuitive, who's open to all sorts of things, not just what we're taught, not just what we're programmed with. And that has been an amazing journey. There are some conversations that I still go back and re-listen to myself. I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I needed to hear as well. Yes, I get the message. And then some of them are just, I mean, so many deep messages. My conversation with Veda Austin, with Dr. John Ryan, even from previous years. They've added such a rich, beautiful layer to my life. And being in connection with you, like I can't believe like the amount of people listen to this podcast. I'm a little amazed at that. And so very grateful for you and your presence. And I want to thank you for listening, for leaving a review, for becoming subscribing, all of those things. Thank you so much. Like, never in a million years I would have imagined, you know, thousands of views and comments and all those things. I'm very grateful for. That said, this year has been so exhausting for me. In fact, December, like this month of 2023, I gave myself like a little off. I was supposed to record this solo episode on the 1st of December. And the 1st of December came and I'm like, yeah, no way. And I was like, okay, maybe next week. Next week came, no way. And then today just happened to be the right way or the right time. As I am nearing the end of all these projects, the book, the website, and like a lot of other things and elements, and adding new elements like the guest healers, my natural tendency is to just go overwhelmed. And then I freeze in my overwhelm. And an element of that is this podcast is literally just a soul love project, but it also takes so much time. I mean, I take care to research each and every guest. I prepare for the podcast, and then we find a time to meet, and that's an electrical transmission that takes energy. And then I edit it, I prepare the graphics, and then posting it, writing the content, sharing it on social media, and then I go in and create this 1-minute reel out of it. I put subtitles to it, and then I share. I mean, it's just, when I look back, I'm like, this is like crazy making the amount of work that goes into this podcast. And again, I'm so happy and so grateful and so, how should I put this? It's a way of liberation for me that I'm able to do this, to speak out to the world this way, in my own way, by connecting with the people that resonate me, and by connecting with you who hopefully resonates with all of this. At the same time, it's a lot. So, like I said, 2024, I do have an episode for you every month. And I don't know yet. I don't know if it'll be every single month. I am entering this phase where I don't want it to be like I have to produce every single first of the month, which is, to be perfectly honest, exhausting. And I know some people do this like multiple times a week with like several guests, and I only produce one episode per month because I want it to be absolutely beautiful and to the point and energetically aligned. But it takes a lot out of me. So the intention that I'm opening to for 2024 and beyond is, I am open to this podcast evolving into what it wants to evolve into. And maybe that means one episode every 2-3 months. Maybe that means, I don't know, more solo episodes. Like, I'm giving you a lot, but today is, maybe I do, instead of just dumping it all on you, I do a check-in with you, I don't know, for 10-15 minutes. And then it's more of a gradual check-in and update where we can connect through our healing journeys. So I don't know yet, and I'm okay with not knowing. I'm okay with sitting in this, okay, if this wasn't just like a factory, like produce kind of production, but if it was more feminine, more cyclical, more aligned with my levels of energy, my levels of whatever the heck else is going in my life, which is a lot. So that's where I am. I'm open to the next evolution, iteration of this podcast. I haven't quite, like, I can't part with it yet. I don't think I'm ready to part with it, but I'm ready for it to evolve and change. and find its own way of being. I even thought about, like, do I change the name Conversations with Healers? Like, if I start to post like 10, 15-minute things with you, for you, do I need to change the name? Because the intention was and has been Conversations with Healers. But no, I mean, that I'm not feeling, because I do feel this is a conversation. I don't see this as a one-way thing, because I am having a conversation with you. And I see both of us as healers, as people with their unique lights shining out into the world. So there it is. It's still going to be Conversations with Healers, at least for now, until further guidance. So what I'm learning and what's next is I am learning that I'm not an endless resource. My body has its limits, as she made very clear to me this month. Like, I was sick the first week of December. The second week of December, I had this huge to-do list. And then I said, like, I wasn't feeling up to it, up to the recording of this podcast and this and that. And I said, okay, no more new appointments. I had like 2 or 3 things, podcast recording, someone interviewing me, a client or whatever. And I said, no more new appointments. And then when I made that time empty, I found myself wrapping Christmas gifts, organizing the house, getting groceries and such. And then, of course, like one day last week, I just went to the basement. I was frantically looking for this gift that I may or may not have received for my daughter. And in my mind, that was supposed to be like an empty rest day, a meditation day. And I was like, yes, but let me find this gift. If I wrap it, it's going to be done. Then I can relax. And then I hit my face. I leaned down to look for a light switch in the dark, and I didn't see that there was this huge black iron thing, like the bottom of a garden thing. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. And I had this huge swollen lip, which meant I needed to cancel all my appointments because I couldn't speak. And that was my body's way of saying, yeah, you're completely spent. You're a little burnt out at the edges, Damla. Like, we don't want you to burn out completely. So let's just empty. Let's make space. So yes, what am I learning from that? Don't fill your empty resting time with other stuff. Because when I thought I was giving myself the space, I actually wasn't, because there's this again. And what does that mean? That I didn't have that one gift for my daughter that wasn't wrapped, and who does that make me as a mom? And am I failing? And all of those things. Of course, they were playing out because I was exhausted and I was in a sympathetic nervous system response at the time, and my body and my mind couldn't handle switching to a new pattern. Like, I had to stop, pause, and get back to my senses the last 2 weeks, and to say, okay, so I hear you, my nervous system. We're going to take it easy and slow, and let's see where this takes us. I am also learning that that there are certain things that my body needs. This year, I am exploring. I have loved going into infrared saunas because I realize the perimenopause. I'm going to be 45 in 2024. So perimenopause is knocking on my door. It's a little harder to fall asleep sometimes. Sometimes I wake up in night sweats and this and that. So what I'm learning is that self-care, self-love, exercise, weight training, no longer options. They are requirements if I want to continue to stay productive and creative and do what I love, which is healing work and creating content like this for you guys. So anyways, I have found in that journey infrared saunas to be amazing. I go in, I sweat for an hour, and then I come out as a new and different and shiny new person. And I've come back to something I've started to explore before the pandemic in 2019. But once the pandemic hit, I needed to stop that. But I'm back to hot yoga. There is this wonderful new space, I mean, not new, but wonderful space that I love. They offer original hot yoga classes, which used to be called Bikram yoga before all the scandals. But it's a 90-minute class that kicks your butt. Again, I go in, I sweat before I like more than I've ever sweated in my life for the next 90 minutes. And then I come out a different and new and shiny person. And they also offer strength and weight training in hot infrared light lit classes. It's called Blaze, where I live. They're in Portsmouth, New Hampshire in the US. If you live close by, I definitely highly recommend them. I've gotten back into acupuncture. That's again, I'm sharing these things because what I want you to understand is like all of these things are different from crystal healing for me. I love crystal healing, and I actually still daily go back into crystal healing meditations. I just go into the Vault membership, Chakra Bliss Vault membership, and I listen to the crystal healings there because the intentions are already set. The crystal energy is already in those recordings. And I go into the EFT tapping meditations, again, all available to you for a very reasonable price in the membership. And all of those things, plus what I'm mentioning, the hot yoga, the physical piece, it's all crystal healing to me because our bodies are crystals. We are made up of 65% of more or more minerals in our bones. Your teeth, your eyes are 95% or more crystals. Water, which are liquid crystals. Your fascia is a liquid crystal. Your DNA is a liquid crystal. Your hair, your like everything, your nails, they're all crystals and crystalline. So to me, anything you do to maintain the health and well-being in your body, and that includes crystal healing meditation, that includes EFT tapping meditation, that includes just going and taking a walk out in the sun. All of those are crystal healing because you are a crystal. So again, coming back to what I'm learning and what's next is having these additional things. I think I was talking about acupuncture. Yes, I've found this fabulous acupuncturist. Her name is Pam Bailey, also in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, in the US, if you're interested. My intention and what's next is to continue with these healing practices. And to see and feel into what's next. I'm always impatient. I always want to finish things and be done with things so that I can move on to the next and the next and the next thing. Because I already have, I have drafted in full detail, like the next 3 or 4 online courses and online seminars that I'm going to be teaching. So they're like waiting there, knocking on my door. I already know what my next book is. I've actually started it, and the book after that. And then I already know like how I want my website to look and feel like, what its structural and other elements are going to be like. Like I know these things. And it is at times frustrating to not see them out in the world yet. But again, they're there, they're under the soil, they're in me, they are like I'm the message, and then they're emerging. So hopefully with them, a part of me is gonna emerge as well. And as I'm here, I mean, I just want to say again, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for taking the time to be here to awaken and to connect with your own healer, the healer that you are. We are all on a self-healing journey, and we will be until the day we leave these bodies and move on to the next bodies and the next. So it's an ongoing journey. But what I would love to love to hear from you is, how is it going for you? Where are you in your healing journey? And what has been nourishing and inspiring and good for you about listening to this episode, or listening to our guests and other episodes? What has it awakened in you, and what has it created for you in your life? What do you enjoy? Again, it's about finding out what's a yes for, like absolutely hell yes for you, and doing more of that, inviting in more of those things into your life, making more space for them in your life. And also, what else do you want me to talk about? Like, I feel like this episode has been like, blah, blah, let me give you everything that's been on my mind in my life, and let me give you this huge update. And again, I'm hoping to do like more frequent little mini updates along the way. But what do you want me to talk about in terms of healing, self-healing, inner child healing, crystal healing, or even running a healing business? Who do you want me to interview? Who do you want to see on this podcast? And yeah, you can just leave a comment anywhere in the internet world. I mean, I post this to a lot of places. You can leave a comment on YouTube, on my website. You can just email me. You can just go to my website at dropofom.com/contact. There's a little cute little table there, or form there, and you write it and then it emails me. It's like magic. Anyways, I think this is all I'm gonna share today. I've shared quite a bit, and I would love to hear your word for 2024, and let me know how things are going for you. Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to Conversations with Healers. If this episode spoke to you in any way, please leave a review or comment, like or love it, and share it with others in your life. This is a true soul love project from my heart to yours. I really appreciate your help in spreading the word. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and check out other episodes to listen to some extraordinary healing stories and advice. Have a beautiful and wonderful day.